In Bangladesh, Palestinian teenagers develop a photography project with kids from the other side of the wall. Across the world, art transcends physical barriers. Artscape, at this time on Al Jazeera.
Muammar Gaddafi makes an appearance in Tripoli as the fight for control of Libya intensifies. Libyan rebels say they're closing in on government strongholds, but they're facing a sustained fight back.
The pro-Gaddafi forces have aircraft, the opposition fighters don't. It's their one really big disadvantage.
I'm Divya Gopal and you're watching Al Jazeera live from Doha, also on this program. NATO's Eyes in the Sky keeps track of Libyan airspace as some rebels call for a no-fly zone to ground Gaddafi's air force. And security forces open fire in Egypt as protesters try to seize secret documents relating to the Mubarak regime. As Muammar Gaddafi appeared to rally his supporters in Tripoli, battles for control of Libya were raging across the country. Gaddafi has ordered a counter-offensive. What began as a series of anti-government protests now looks more like the beginning of a civil war. These are the main flashpoints. In the east, there are reports of fighting between pro- and anti-Gaddafi forces in Tobruk. Benghazi is the stronghold of rebel fighters who say they remain in control of the city. Anti-Gaddafi fighters have continued their push west in Ras Lanuf and Bin Jawad. There's been heavy fighting there. Misrata is strategically located between the capital Tripoli and Gaddafi's hometown of Sirte. There's been fierce fighting in the city with reports of at least 18 people killed. The capital Tripoli remains a bastion for Muammar Gaddafi and his supporters. But in neighboring AlJazeera, rebels say they've repelled a counter-attack by Gaddafi forces to regain the city. Stephanie Decker has the latest.
Celebrations in Misrata. This internet video claims the town remains firmly in opposition control, and some of the casualties of that battle. Another video appears to show dead pro-Gaddafi fighters. But the government maintains they are making gains in the east of the country.
Today, what happened in Misrata, one of the brigades took the repositioned and didn't want to engage in the fighting. And despite that, the locals managed to capture 37 of the militia groups.
It's a propaganda war, where what's really happening on the ground is sometimes impossible to confirm. But this, not an illusion. The leader himself making a brief appearance in the capital. State television keen to send out the message, all is well. No matter the claims and counterclaims by both sides, the casualties continue to rise. This the local hospital in Ras Lanuf. Opposition forces were forced to retreat to the town after heavy fighting for control of Bin Jawad, on the road to Gaddafi's hometown and stronghold of Sirte. Whether either side is making as much ground as it claims still remains very unclear. But it seems the propaganda mirrors the fighting. Libya is a divided country, and both sides are telling very different stories. Stephanie Decker, Al Jazeera.
Well, as we saw in that report, there's been more fighting in Misrata, which lies to the east of Tripoli. Mohammed Ali is a member of the Civil Committee for Misrata Affairs. Imran Garda asked him how the rebels were going to continue their fight against the Libyan army.
Our armory is not a lot. What we rely on is willpower and the belief that we want to liberate our country, and the amount of dislike and hate towards the system and the dictator. I heard one of your earlier reports that Gaddafi might outgun us, but he will not outnumber us, and his forces do not have the determination that we have.
Do you want outside help?
Yes, specific help. A no-fly zone is long overdue, and selective surgical strikes, I think, are called for.
Let's take a closer look at another crucial battleground, the oil town of Ras Lanouf. Jackie Rowland is there and has been talking to anti-government forces.
The rebels are edging closer and closer to the Gaddafi heartlands. The territory they call Free Libya now extends almost as far west as Bin Jawad. That's just 200 kilometers from Gaddafi's hometown of Sirte.
We advanced to Bin Jawad and we discovered that Gaddafi troops had recruited teenagers and made them stand on the rooftops to shoot at us. After that, we decided to withdraw from Bin Jawad to work out a new strategy to return and capture the town.
The rebels are chaotic and living on their nerves. Their mood swings from panic to euphoria. But their great strength lies in the conviction that they are liberating their country. The skies are clear again after a sandstorm that lasted several days. And good visibility means enemy aircraft. The rebels are vulnerable from the sky. The pro-Gaddafi forces have aircraft, the opposition fighters don't. It's their one really big disadvantage. Capturing territory and capturing enemy soldiers too. The rebels take us to see a man they've been holding prisoner since Friday. He tells me he's a conscript in the Libyan army.
The army asked me what my specialty was. They posted me as a sentry and said, if you leave, we will shoot you.
Gaddafi's army may outgun the rebels, but the rebels outnumber the army. New volunteers are joining all the time and their morale is high. Just as well, since the heaviest fighting may still lie ahead. Jackie Rowland, AlJazeera, Ras Lanouf in eastern Libya.
Some Libyan rebel groups have called for limited military assistance, such as targeted airstrikes. However, one U.S. senator has said that direct military intervention would be counterproductive. Instead, John Kerry said the international community should prepare for a no-fly zone in the event of a massacre of civilians by the Libyan Air Force.
1. Prepare a no-fly zone in conjunction with our allies, not implement it. Certainly, first hope would be, if it were called on, to be done only in the context of international agreement and sanction. But right now, they don't want that, and I think that's good. The last thing we want to think about is any kind of military intervention, and I don't consider the fly zone stepping over that line. We don't want troops on the ground. They don't want troops on the ground. That would be counterproductive.
Well, much of the military equipment needed to enforce a no-fly zone is already based on the Mediterranean island of Cyprus. James Bass is there.
These aircraft are NATO's eyes and ears. The AWACS is packed with the most sophisticated cameras, surveillance and monitoring equipment.